An LAPD police sergeant has been arrested by authorities in the OC accused of hitting and killing a pedestrian with his vehicle while under the influence of alcohol and then driving off.
Orange County Bureau Chief Chip Yost is live in Santa Ana with some details for us. Hi, Chip.
Yeah, hey there, Glenn and Lou. Yes, an LAPD officer has been accused of killing a 19-year-old man in a DUI hit and run. That 19-year-old lived here in Santa Ana, and we just spoke to his family, who are still working their way through their grief in this case. Let's take a look at a picture of the young 19-year-old who was killed in this. You're looking at a picture of 19-year-old Imanol Salvador Gonzalez. His friends call him Manny. On Saturday at about 4 in the morning, he was in Tustin near Nissan and Del Amo when police say a car struck him. Police were called about a person down in the street over there. They got there, and that's when they found Gonzalez in the street. He was killed in that accident, but according to the LA Times, the car didn't stick around. The car took off, and it was later determined the car was driven by an LAPD sergeant. Let's show you some video from court this afternoon of that LAPD sergeant, Carlos Coronel. He was arrested, according to the LA Times, at Newton Division. According to the Times, hours after that accident Saturday morning, he went to work at Newton Division, and that's where he was arrested. We're still waiting for confirmation on all of that from some of the different agencies involved, but according to the Times, that's where he was arrested. Some searches we did of the Orange County court system showed today that he has a previous DUI back in 2011. He was arrested by the CHP in Buena Park, was put on probation in that case. The reason he was in court today was not because of what he was arrested for over the weekend. The DA still hasn't made a filing decision in the weekend case where that young man was killed. He was in court today and in custody for a probation violation stemming from that 2011 DUI case. A little bit earlier, we spoke to the brokenhearted stepfather of the young man killed. Here's a little bit from him.
It's everything to me. It's my world. He's a very lovable kid, very respectful. You know, he never gave us problems. He's just the most sweetest boy in the world.
The LAPD put out a statement that says the Los Angeles Police Department is committed to upholding the highest standards of integrity, professionalism, and accountability. We do not tolerate misconduct of any kind, and any violations of department policies or the public trust are taken seriously. All allegations of officer misconduct are thoroughly investigated, and appropriate action is taken to ensure accountability. Our commitment is to serve and protect the community with fairness, respect, and transparency. Now, as far as that court hearing earlier today, it appears that he was sentenced to, I believe, and we'll have to go back and double check this. I was watching it online, but it sounded like he was sentenced to 30 days in jail for the probation violation. He got some credit for time served, but from what it sounded like, he will be in custody at least for the next several days. During that time, it's possible charges could be filed by the DA's office in this other case. We're trying to clarify a lot of that at the moment because we're all getting this information within the last hour or so. But for now, reporting live here in Santa Ana, I'm Chip Yost, KTLA 5 News.
Chip, thank you.
LAPD cop is, well, arrested. Why? Because he fled the scene of a fatal DUI crash. Put it up full mass. This is the LAPD, Los Angeles Police Department. Sergeant was arrested in Orange County over the weekend after authorities say he hit and killed a pedestrian while driving intoxicated and fled the scene. Tustin police identified the driver as Carlos Coronel, who was booked into the jail Saturday night. However, LAPD has decided not to release his photo. So we got something for that. Coronel was taken into custody after he reported for work at Newton Division. He went to work hours after the incident happened, according to multiple LAPD sources who requested anonymity because they were not authorized to discuss the ongoing investigation. Tustin Police Sergeant Ryan Newton said officers were called about 3:57 a.m. Saturday to report a person down in the street in the area of Nissan Road and Del Amo Avenue. When they arrived, they found a man suffering from injuries from being struck by a vehicle. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Newton said the investigation led the police to suspect that Officer Coronel had been drinking and they arrested him later that day without elaborating further. He said the department expects to release additional details about the incident on Tuesday. We're waiting for those details. LAPD Chief Jim McDonald did in fact send a statement to the LA Times that said, quote, "Let me be clear. The actions alleged in this case are absolutely unacceptable. Sergeant Coronel's alleged involvement in a felony hit and run is not only disturbing, but it betrays the trust of the public and the oath we take as law enforcement officers." Keep his picture up. Chief releases damn photo. That should have been the first thing you did. If you believe the public should have a right to know what happened to a pedestrian by way of one of your cops. This is far from the only drunk incident by an LAPD officer. However, it's the second time in less than 2 months that an LAPD officer has been arrested for a drunk driving fatality. Following a Christmas Eve incident in Ontario in which a bicyclist was killed. Before I go on to the remaining, I want to remind everyone that these individuals who have been caught, they've been caught. Why do they feel so comfortable driving to such an intoxicated level that death is happening to citizens? Well, typically it's because the culture will protect them. That's typically why. Who's going to pull them over? Their friend will. All right, charges are pending against rookie LAPD cop Aaron Clybacker, if you could put it up. We have Ontario police said they arrested Clybacker after his vehicle struck and killed a 38-year-old, Fabio Cabreros of Chino. Police said the officer initially fled the scene before returning and then cooperating with the investigator. He was booked into the West Valley Detention Center on suspicion of vehicular manslaughter and then released on Christmas Day, according to an online jail roster. So last April, an off-duty lieutenant who was posted anti-drunk driving messages, he posted these, was charged with felony DUI in connection with a crash on 605 freeway that injured at least one other person. Drunk driving and the department's supposedly lenient handling of them has received scrutiny by the police commission. The civilian oversight body voted to tighten the department's alcohol policy, lowering the acceptable blood alcohol level for an off-duty officer, armed officer, to 0.04% in some situations. Let's be very clear. You don't have an issue with the rule. The rule is fine. The issue is with enforcement of the rule. So instead of actually addressing the enforcement issue, they give you a ridiculous new rule as if that changed anything. They're not following the right now rule. What makes you think they're going to follow the new rule? If they followed the right now rule, this would not happen. Simply enforce the law as it relates to the culture of the law rather than the culture of your police department. Under the current rules, first-time offenders can sign a so-called contract with the department, which spares them any serious punishment as long as they agree to abstain from buying or drinking alcohol for several years. Does that make sense to you? Cop gets caught, DUI, could have killed somebody. Just sign this agreement and just tell us you'll never drink like 5 years. We're going to say 5 years. You won't drink again. You won't buy any alcohol. So you're going to bar the cop from doing what is legal to do, which is to purchase alcohol, in order to let him get away what was illegal to do, which is drive drunk. Sounds about like America. All right, Sharon, thoughts here.
One set of rules for us and another for them. And when a cop is in trouble, they're both the offender and the victim, apparently. That's all that matters. It's sick, it's twisted, and we've got to get to a time in America where we're on a level playing field, not just as human beings and racially, economically, but with law enforcement. This is not a police state, yet it really feels like one every day.
It is interesting, and the reality is the culture of that level of protection has led to the death of
That part.
civilians simply walking down the street.